Hey everyone, Lauren here, and we're using the July kits to make a really fun mixed media project. So I'm demonstrating, like a rainbow, paint the colourful rainbow, and using those colours that are on that embellishment, paintbrush embellishment, as the rainbow. So I'm going to pull out the paints. So we got a few of these. The first three colours that I pull up here, we got them in the July Mixed Media kit, which is always lovely to get new supplies. And then I just pulled out a red and a green out of my stash, which again, it's nice to use our stash, especially mixed media, but mixed media is just too hard not to get new stuff. And then when you see all the stuff you get in the kits with our Kitaholic kit, I can't help but use it all up and admire the things that Steph has put together. So I'm just using my paintbrush. I'm just going to go straight down, thinner at the top where it starts at the paintbrush, and then it thickens out as it reaches the bottom of the paper. And we're just going to go through the colours and paint them on. So while that's happening, let me know, what have you been creating with your July kit? What are you perhaps looking to create? Another really important question I want to ask actually is, how do you plan and use your kits? Are you someone who sees the reveal, the unboxing, looks at the photos and then decides, yep, I'm going to work on this chunk of photos, or I'm going to pull out and print this numerous random photos out of my, the archives of photos? Or are you an up-to-date scrapper and, you work on the photos that you've just printed for the last week or month? Let me know how you do that. Or do you just randomly create and then find a photo later? I'd be very interested to know, because I want to share a bit of my process, and I just want to have some thought around what other people do, because how that fear of missing out. Sometimes I have that fear of finding a better way to do something and thinking, wow, I've wasted all this time doing it the way I was previously doing, when I should be doing it this way because someone has a really good idea of how to do something, especially in terms of organising. I'm not the most organised person in a lot of ways, but I do like to have things that go well together. I know back, ages ago, I'd buy something, or I'd buy a kit, and then I'd be like, oh, I want it to go with this and I want it to go with that, and then I would never, I'd put it away to wait till I get to those photos, and that would never happen. Oh, look what happened. My green delusional paint is hard. For some crazy reason, I thought a bit of water would help, but, it ain't going to help. So instead, I'm going to clean that up, and then I do pull out another green. The other delusion paint in another green is not ruined. It's probably newer, or I don't know. I think sometimes it's a bit random at the same time. So sorry I left all this in cleaning my paintbrush. My gosh. Sometimes I wonder, when I edit and then I rewatch, and even though I edit, then I watch, then I voice over, sometimes I wonder how I miss things. Anyway, now you know how easy it is to clean your paintbrush in between if you didn't bother to stand up and get your paint water from the kitchen. Just use a baby wipe, use a bit of water out of your spray bottle to wet it down even more, and Bob's your uncle. So, on goes the green, and you can see how easy it is just to paint this rainbow. I'm just sort of keeping to that thinness up the top, and then just having a bit of fun down the bottom. And as always, when you're making mixed media background, things will get covered up. If you make something that's you feels not perfect at one stage or up to where you thought it was going to be, then don't worry, because you most likely can just cover it with a little embellishment, or put your photo there or something to hide that. Because sometimes I think, I know, when you're creating something, you're your own worst critic. So you might see something, no one else sees it when they look at the layout or the project, But because you've seen it, because you've pointed it out, because you've focused on it, it then becomes the focal point when you look at the layout or the project. So if you can cover it up, then you're laughing, because then you won't be able to see the thing that you were focusing on before. Anywho, look how awesome this colour palette goes together. Not only did Steph pick some pretty awesome paints to go with it, Vicky Boudin's done some awesomeness with getting all the colours together. So I've just dried it off so that I can keep working and not have to wait. We do have a lot of the Vicky Boudin, but we have some of Paige's stuff, and then some other goodies as well in the kit, which is always nice. Steph does an amazing job of not just grabbing everything from one collection, but mixing and matching and getting it working so well, adding in some other random embellishments that, you know, like Punchinella and doilies and things like that are not necessarily big name brand collection things, and it just perfectly goes together to make the perfect mix of items to create with. So it was looking a little bare, and I really needed some extra stuff going on in the background. So I've pulled out again this random dotted circle that we got in the July kit that's made by Vicky Boudin, and then some of that gold paint again that we got in the July mixed media kit. I'm just using the sponge to dab on some gold randomly through this stencil so that I have some jagged edges of circles rather than a block of circles. And we're going to put it in a few spots. Of course, I didn't get out enough paint. I was being a little bit stingy with it because I didn't want to waste that gold. It is a really good tone of gold, and the thickness of it and the colour of it means that you don't lose out on it when it dries, or when you spread it out thin like this, it doesn't lose its colour. Sometimes when you're using gold things, it sort of tends to get a bit wishy-washy. So here we go. On here, there and everywhere, filling in some of the spots that are standing out to my eye. And then we're going to get working on another part. So just going to quickly wipe down my stencil and my mat and get rid of all that. I'm not going to show you the whole process. Thank God, they all say. And then I'm going to work on photos. So we've got these two little photos of my children at a nature reserve, and my eldest didn't want to smile, so my youngest is trying to convince him and I think my youngest thought he didn't realize that I was calling out to him to take a photo, and he was alerting him to the fact that Mum's got the camera and she's trying to make you say cheese, but it looks really cute. And so then we have the second photo where they're looking at the camera, and it's a bit more of a photo, I guess, because normally you want your children to be looking at the camera, right? So we're going to work on adding them to the layout, because we're talking about a lot of colour and, you know, in the world with the rainbow and that paintbrush. I'm thinking about using these giant embellishments to then add that, you know, continue with that theme. I really love this rainbow and was hoping to fit it in, but it just doesn't. It just detracts and is just wasted on this layout. So try as I might in a few different times and spaces, it doesn't work and doesn't I don't commit to it in the end at all. Got the cute little crayons, and I'm going to add those in the little cluster up the top there as well. Just layer them in some kind of random fashion. And there we go. And then I've just got my really useful box to the right there, and I'm just working on what I can add. I realise it doesn't have enough going on in the background, and so I pull out this little stencil that's got these circles. It's a little bit annoying to me because it is not, you can't get randomness edges too well with it, but I make it work by layering them over each other, and sort of, it's got the plastic backing, so it's a bit hard to not ink up a lot of the circles, but I'm getting it random enough by overstamping that it's okay. So that just brings out that background and has that pop of interest much better that way. And I'm liking that, so on it goes. And I'm still liking these embellishments up here, so I'm going to commit to all that before working on anything else. So by the power of magic, we've come back. And all those little plastic strips to the side are all the double-sided tape that I used to stick it all down. And I'm going to use, these are the alphas that we got in the kit, these black ones. And I'm going to spell out a super long title, something I haven't done for a while and something I love the design of. So I really should do it more. It means that I'd be able to use some of my alphas in my stash a lot more. So I've got the black ones here and I'm going to spell out. But then I've got, you can probably see those coloured alphas underneath. Those are clear stickers that came in the sticker book last month. But go very well with the collection. So I did include leftover stickers into this month. So I'm just writing, siblings make the world more colourful since the beginning. Siblings, comma. But the comma looks silly when I added it. Making the world more colourful since the beginning. So that's a bit cute. And look how fast my fingers go. Again, power of editing. And I made a boo-boo with my spelling there. And so fix that up. Ruined an I in the process, which is a little bit annoying because it's a vowel. And vowels are hard to come across when you're spelling words. So there we go. And I'm just lifting it up to see how it's looking together. And I want to add a little bit more colour in the background, especially in these spots where I've got the black stamping. So I've pulled out my little coffee cup full of paint pens. And I'm using the blue here to do some little crosses. And just randomly marking across in a few different sections. And it's really just fun when you're doing mark making. This one I do little dots. So you can really just do any little shape and repeat it across. Sorry, the pen was not working so well. Or I thought it wasn't working so well. But I think the colour is just not as bright as the others. So that's why I thought it wasn't working. But it is working. So on it goes, and then I just do a few more. So then I've got the yellow, just doing some dash, some little dotted lines, I guess. So you can do the dotted lines vertically or horizontally. And you don't have to do different colours, different like marks. You can do the same. You could do crosses for all the same, or dots for all the same colour, all different colours. Sorry, I should say. Whatever you just feel like doing is just fun. We've got the orange here, and that's pretty striking. It adds a lot straight away to the background. And what ends up happening is this little cluster here above the photo towards the top of that pencil tin becomes a bit disjointed to the one that's on the left of all that left stamping in the top left hand corner. So I end up joining that as one and sort of fixing that in a moment, because it becomes really jarring on the eye just in the location of colour. So we're going to just have a play. You can see I'm just using a few different colours, and paint pens are one of those things that you just want to build your stash up over time because they're a little bit expensive. But these ones here, the one I've got in my hand, is a really cool brand, and I brought them from Big W. But I did notice the other day when I had to go to newsagents that they had them on the counter as well. So that's always good because they're a little bit cheaper than the Posca ones, and they work just as well. And thirdly, they come in a few different sizes, thick and thin and medium and extra thin and stuff like that. So definitely worth checking out. So here's where I think it's all, jarring on the eye up the top here. So I'm thinking about adding this little cluster. The problem is it's floating in the air, so then I move it to the right to be part of that cluster, but that's not working either. And so you can see how I just step back and try a few things and step back again, pulling this sticker label from the sticker book. And I like that. And I'm really liking this arrow. So the arrow, I commit to the arrow. And then I've got that label. So now I'm going to fill in a little bit of journaling. Just quickly saying about how his brother was trying to make him smile for the camera. And then quickly having a look at all the other embellishments just to see if there is anything that will stick out and pop that section up there. But what I end up doing is adding some more of that black stamp, so you can see now that that just makes the cluster join rather than being the left bit and that right bit above the photos. So adding all that stamped area, stamped in quite a few areas I should say again, and then we're finished. So hopefully this has inspired you to get creative and get your mixed media on, and hopefully you're enjoying the July kits. Bye guys.